Okay, to the phones we go. Dave in Columbus, Ohio. You're up first, and it's great to have you. Hello.
Hi, Rush. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
About these protests, the thing that frustrates me the most, I'm an attorney, Rush, and no one seems to understand the very basics of Constitution Law 101, First Amendment free speech. The First Amendment protects the content of your speech. It does not protect your conduct when you speak. People get this so wrong. All I hear these talking heads on TV everywhere, they say, well, as long as they're nonviolent or they don't enter into private space, they don't do this, they don't do that. If you're in public and you annoy people, that's disorderly conduct. You can't grab a megaphone and start marching around, blocking foot traffic and screaming at people, getting in their faces. That's disorderly conduct.
Well, you can do it, but you're going to be removed. In any other circumstance, you're going to be removed if you do it.
But it's not the time-honored free speech, history of the United States, everybody has a right to do it. You don't. You can't act like, you can't be a nuisance and then carry a Bernie sign and then you're inoculated. No one on TV seems to get this. They say that they're allowed to march down the street. When you see protesters with megaphones and signs marching around, they have to get a permit from the city to do that. There has to be a space, a time set up.
Right. Well, there was. I get your point. There was no permit to block traffic given. His point is that the First Amendment does not provide you freedom of conduct. You may have freedom of speech, but there's no freedom of speech in these private events anyway. You do not have a right to be heard. That is another thing about the First Amendment that a bunch of idiots seem to misunderstand. They equate the right of free speech with the right to be heard. Nobody has to listen to you. You can go where you can say whatever you want to say, and nobody has to listen, and you can't do anything if they don't. The minute you start forcing them to listen by shackling them or imprisoning them or trapping them or whatever, you are in violation of the law. The thing is, the media is always going to do this, Dave. The media is always going to promote leftist protesters. They're always going to categorize them as great heirs of the American tradition. They're going to promote them as great freedom fighters and free speech lovers, civil rights leaders and all that. They're nothing but a bunch of thug criminals. And for the first time, somebody's calling them out. It happens to be Trump. For years, Republican voters have ached for something to be done about this. I'm telling you, you do not know how fit to be tied so many people are that crap like that ends up being a factor in policy. Crap like that goes on in Ferguson, crap like that goes on in Baltimore or Los Angeles, or ends up becoming public policy, influencing public policy. You don't know how many people are fit to be tied over there for years and years and years. It's one of the many things Republican voters feel ticked off about. What was it? I just had a... it was Lindsey Graham. We must be prepared to lose an election to maintain our heart and soul. We must be. We as Republicans, we must be committed and prepared to losing an. We're only talking about the future of the country, not your heart and soul. And we're not talking about your job. And we're not talking about maintaining the establishment. People are concerned about their own futures, not yours. Their own lives. Yours is set. You're a member of the establishment. You're going to be fine no matter what happens. That's the problem. We'll be back.